up here in Wyoming looking for antelope. Out here glassing from a high spot. Been using this Zeiss Victory HARPIA 95mm for I think 4 hunts now. This will be the 4th hunt. We're just going to go over my thoughts on it. This is going to be more from a subjective standpoint, and we're going to talk about the things I find important for a hunter, which is obviously what we use them for. There's a lot of technical data out there, a lot of bird watching people that give reviews on it that go into the real technical details, and a lot of people like that kind of stuff. But for me, I just want to know why I would pick this scope, the things I like about it, the things I don't like about it. So let's talk about why you would even start to look at this scope. If you're wanting to glass a long ways away, low light, so first light, last light, you're gonna want great glass, the best glass that you can afford, and you're going to need, for that low light condition, a big objective, and the 95mm is one of the best. I think Swarovski has a bigger one now, and you're starting to get into that whole weight versus performance issue, and that is going to be something you're going to need to consider here. It is heavier than some of the 80mm and heavier than the 65mm. But if you're wanting the absolute best performance that you can get out of an optic in low light, you're going to need a bigger objective. So this is the best glass that I've ever looked through. I have never used a Swarovski ATX. I've never used the Kawas, or however you pronounce it, Promenars, but I have ATS that I've been using for years. I have Night Force scope. Both of those are great optics in their own right. Very good glass, but this one beats them both. It does come with that weight penalty, but like I said, if you want the best performance you can get for those low light, long distance glassing issues, you need to be looking at this. Let's just talk about some of the features. Obviously, we talked about the fact that this one's the 95mm. It has the dual speed focus ring. I have never really had a huge issue with the Swarovski getting it focused, but I do think I like this one better. It's got a coarse and then a fine, and you can feel it hit those changes as you're adjusting it. I do think, for me personally, it is a little bit quicker to get focused after you've used it for a while. It does take some getting used to because it is different, but I really do like it. I think when you're in perfect glassing conditions where you can actually use that extra crisp picture that you're paying for, it helps get that. And then it is a 3x zoom optic. It goes from 23 to 70 power. Again, that's extra 10 power, the 70 versus some of the other 60 powers. I know there's a few 70s out there as well, but that extra 10 power is definitely nice when you can use it, and when you can't, you just dial it down to 60. There's been a lot of mirage days here, a lot of days where the mirage was really horrible in the middle of the day, and no optic's going to allow you to glass trophy quality at 2 and 3 miles in those conditions. But in the perfect conditions, this is one of the best performing optics I've used. One thing to note is that the mechanics internally are doing something weird. I don't really know how the internals are actually made up mechanically, but I do know that when you turn it down to the lower power, and I don't know exactly where that starts, but it does act like a smaller objective scope internally, so you're not going to get the full 95mm of use on the lower powers. I I don't think that's usable or valuable, I guess, for how I use a scope. I will dial it down to 23 power to get on an optic, or when I'm just glassing. But when I want to zoom in for trophy quality, I'm going to zoom to max zoom, and then you do get the peak performance of this optic. It is comparable in weight to the Swarovski 95mm, which is going to be probably its closest competitor. Again, I haven't used it, but I can tell you that this is the best optic I've used. From my experiences with the Zeiss products and the Swarovski products, I don't think either one of them really nails the color temperature for me. The Zeiss is a little on the cool side, so it's a little blue tint. The Swarovskis are a little on the warm side for me if I were going to pick a perfect optic, so they're going to have that little yellow tint. Really, that's nitpicking, and that's fine for those guys that want to nitpick them because you are paying for a lot for the optic. But it doesn't, neither one of them hinder or add to the performance, so it's really not something that I would choose an optic for. Like I said, it's just a note for some of those people that would be bothered by it. I really don't know what else to talk about. I do think that in most situations, especially when you're not going on a backcountry hunt, this is an optic you definitely should look at, because carrying it a couple miles from the truck's not going to be a big deal. As far as if you're loading up a 50-60 pound pack and going in the backcountry for 5 days, whether you think it's worth the extra pound penalty over like a Swarovski ATS, that's something you're going to have to decide for yourself. I think it's worth it. It could save a lot of boot leather, a lot of up and down altitude changes, hiking over ridges. In some of that tough country, it's not stuff that you really want to be hiking in. So I personally think it's worth it. I know that ounces equal pounds, and obviously pounds add up to pain, but it could actually save you a lot of hiking, which would be even more pain. Other than actual optical performance, one of the best things, or the things that sets this apart from some of the other scopes out there, is the amazing field of view on this thing. You crank this up to 70 power and it still has a very, very good field of view. Like I said, you can take a look at that in the specs on what that number is, but it is noticeable when you're comparing it side by side with the other optics available. Had the tech specs in the beginning opening sequence. If you want to look at those, you can just hit the pause. We'll have a link in the description to a thread on the forum. You can head on over there, ask me any questions. Please like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on notifications so you can be notified of any future videos. We appreciate you taking the time to watch. Have a great day.